Hey, Tony Gaskins here. Now that I made it out here to Las Vegas, y'all got to forgive me. I'm still working, still coaching. Got to do 2 more coaching sessions, then going to the basketball game. But wanted to pop on here because we had us, some punks on the page, and really hoping that the punks get their life together. Because I'm gonna tell you, one of the things about these free agent lifestyle men and all of that right there, some of them.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tony Gaskins Show. All right, now yesterday I did a live stream and I was reacting to Tony Gaskins' complete tirade on not only Coach Greg Adams as an individual, but the free agent lifestyle, the RP, Passport Bros, MG Toes, and I'm using acronyms for YouTube, okay? But y'all get the point, right?
Yes.
This man said that all of us that follow these different philosophies or whatever you pull from these particular philosophies or lifestyles, he said that we're down low, we're young men that haven't matured, we take advantage of women, that we're riding the rainbow, that we use pickles and cucumbers and hot dogs with prophylactics on each other.
Asses are being taken in ways that nobody can explain.
All kind of funny stuff. We need to be burned at the stake. We need to be slapped up and all kinds of stuff. We need to get done up by Big Bub into prison. He went absolutely ham on all of this, all of us, but specifically Coach Greg Adams and the free agent lifestyle, because he said that we or they, us, are promoting degeneracy. We're contributing to the degradation of society and all of the big words and phrases you want to use to say that we have effed up society, okay? Well, that video was like, I think 3 or 4 days ago. Yesterday, he uploaded another video where he's doubling down on the rhetoric from a few days ago. Again! This is also on Tony Gaskins' page, and the title of the video is Coach Greg Adams, Leader of the Losers.
Enemy spotted.
Enemy spotted indeed, and Tony Gaskins. So we're going to react and review this video. It's about 30 minutes long. I'm going to play it at 1.5 times speed because it's a long video and I want to go through the whole thing. But if you want to watch it uninterrupted and at its normal pace, I will leave a link to it in the description box. You can watch it without my interruption or commentary. And if you are still here, thank you very much for your viewership. And if you have not done so already, hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to further contribute to the channel. Hit the join button down below, become a part of the Working Man Union. Hit that hype button, of course. That boosts me up in the algorithm quite nicely. Please do that. And or hit the Cash App, $ Mr. Normie. Let's let Mr. Tony Gaskins from Polk County, Florida, talk about the free agent lifestyle.
Trying to compare those of us who were out and about womanizing in our teens to the men who are womanizing in their 40s and 50s. And that is completely, utterly, totally different. Because it's one thing to be a teenager and to be young, to be ignorant and to be dumb, than to be an old fool, to be in your 30s, 40s, 50s, still womanizing. But it's not even just the womanizing that's bad, it's the promoting of the womanizing that's even worse.
Now, you can say he's promoting womanizing or whatever. Tony Gaskins has not given any type of accountability to the women that have leaned into their greed in society versus, more family structure being led by men, or at the very least being under the protection of somebody, right? Things like that are more traditional that you provide to your wife, right, Tony? You didn't tell anything about that. You haven't said anything about how the rainbow community is making these women more susceptible to being with their own gender instead of other men, right? While you was talking about us being down low so much, you haven't given any smoke to the rainbow community or women or politicians that haven't changed any of the laws. Because make no mistake, Coach Greg Adams says this all the time. He says, you know what? Most men, and I agree with this, most men are anti-marriage, they're anti-divorce, they're anti-child support, they're anti-family court, things like that, right? They're not anti-marriage. I would say that I would argue that most men probably would rather be married. But the way the laws are set up, again, because you pay either front end, the middle, or the back end, right? And the biggest payment, like they always say, is on the back end, AKA all of these things I just described. But you don't say anything about that, okay? By the way, you haven't done your research, because if you did, because he's going to say in a minute, I didn't even know his name. So you didn't know Coach Adams' name. You also didn't know that this man was married for damn near 10 years. He has 2 children. He was a successful basketball coach, right? He runs probably different kind of businesses outside of YouTube and things like that. You say he's an old fool. Well, he's been on that horse before, but you want him to get back on that horse, right? And that's your problem. But you wouldn't know that because you didn't even do research on him. You just see people out there monetize dating, if you will. You can call it tricking, sugar daddy, whatever. But he's living his best life now. He's done all that kind of stuff. But you wouldn't know that because you're just, you opened your Bible up and said, oh man, this is messed up. Which, if you're looking at this from a spiritual perspective, then got it. But you also have to look at the real of society as well.
So if you want to live that type of lifestyle and you want to womanize, okay, go ahead and womanize. But keep that between you and Satan, because nobody else needs to know about it. And the thing what's crazy to me is men coaching men on how to be a degenerate. So you got this coach out there that these.
By the way, fair use to Tony Gaskins, but Tony, have you ever heard of somebody named Shira 7? Have you ever heard of other women out there that coach women how to, I'm not going to say gold digger because that's a worn out phrase, right? Let's say that they want to maximize their financial potential with other men. Have you ever thought about those women? So it's only the men that are being womanizers, but it's not also women that are maximizing their physical potential to the best of their financial ability. No, it's not that either, right? It's not, because 2 things can be true at the same time, right? Yeah, we're paying for women, but they're taking the buck, are they not? Well, okay.
They were putting CGA, and I think that stands for Coach Greg Adams. I didn't even know the man's name. I'm talking about the free agent lifestyle. I ain't even know the man's name or, who, if he the one who started it or whatever. Of course, he didn't start it, but to brand it means that you're a down low brother, most likely. Because real men don't kiss and tell. Men who really about that lifestyle, men who really about that womanizing, about that sleeping around, about that tricking off, you don't turn that into a business. And so think about this. You got these.
He must not never met a pimp, huh? But okay.
Situations where you have these men who are coaching other men and telling them, don't get married, remain single, sleep around. What sense does that make? Because if you get into a marriage, I just celebrated 19 years of marriage. I am a millionaire. I have countless businesses. I have millions of followers online, and I'm not losing anything in a divorce court. You know why? Because I'm a man and because I'm doing my part. A woman doesn't just leave you to leave you. She don't leave you because she got bored. And that's the narrative that they're pushing. They're pushing that.
Come on now.
Bitch, ain't what? Ain't no fucking way.
Women are leaving because they get bored. Again, Tony, have you ever watched the series on Netflix, Sex Life? That was blueprinted by women that have been bored in their marriage and want more excitement.
Bitch, ain't no way.
Come on, man.
Ain't no fucking way.
Is he in his own bubble? Huh? And by the way, married 19 years, millionaire, great businesses, wonderful, good for you. And you are the example of, a successful man in all its, situations, right? But however, come on, man. You're not scared of marriage? Of course. I mean, again, good for you, but what about the men that are? You've seen all these divorces out here. Women aren't getting divorced because they're bored. Are you kidding me? And then please do not paste your experience from 19 years ago when you said you had over 100 body count by the time you was, 19, 21. You've been married 19 years. It's 2026. That means you was married. You got married in your early 2000s. You cannot put the game that you were using back in the early 2000s to 2026. It's a totally different game out here in the streets now, Tony. You have not been out in these streets to know this. You are crapping on the free agent lifestyle, or just not even the free agent lifestyle. And men in general, they decide, you know what? I've had long-term relationships. I've been married. I've had children. I don't want to do that anymore. Again, if you're looking at this from a spiritual perspective, I get it. But still, you cannot ignore what's going on out here in society when it comes to relationships, when it comes to specifically marriage, right? Look at the laws, Tony. Your wife can leave you at the drop of a hat. She has it, which is good for her, right? She's loyal for now. But they can leave at any time for nothing and take half of your money, everything you work for. She can take half of it. And he's going to say something else ridiculous here in just a minute that's even more egregious than what he just said right now about women and being bored in marriage.
Woman left them because they bored. If you, Greg Adams' ex-wife, and you watch this video, reach out to me so we could do an interview.
Boy. Enemy spotted. Oh, man, I hope Coach sees this. God, man, what he just said. If you are Coach Greg Adams' ex-wife, to reach out to him for an interview. Coach Greg Adams did not say anything bad about you or your marriage, Tony, but you getting real personal right now, brother. You getting real personal right now. Man, wow.
Tell your side of the story of why you left Greg. And I guarantee you it's not because she just got bored. And if a woman just get bored.
Oh, and by the way, Coach Greg Adams has not said specifically because he's kept his family business his business, but he also said that he also had faults in the marriage, okay? Because much he says about divorce court, which is probably the main stuff that he talks about during his marriage or the end of his marriage. And there are certain things that he alludes to when he's talking about his marriage, but he doesn't get anything personal out of, I assume, respect for his ex-wife and his children. And he says that, you know what, it wasn't just her fault. There were things that I did too. And so he only speaks of the situations that he felt was negative on his part. I'm sure she could say the same thing, but for you to say, man, wow.
Word. That mean a man ain't doing what he's supposed to be doing. Point blank, period. And these men so afraid about what they're going to lose in divorce. It's like, if you're a man, everything you lose in divorce, you can make it back in the next 12 to 60 months. I'm going to give you 60 months.
Come on, Tony, man. Bruh. So you mean tell me that everything that I lose in divorce could I can make back within 60 months? Just that easy, right? I'm not a millionaire, a billionaire. I don't have any kind of successful businesses. I'm a ninja on ground zero, a normie. Blue collar, you see this right here? Blue collar ninja right here. I get divorced. Can I make my little few $100,000 or a few tens of thousands back? Can I make that back in 60 months? Depending on how long you've been married, you got to pay lifetime alimony. You can't make that back on a normie salary like mine. What? Man, sorry, I'm getting upset.
It's like when I was 31 years old, I'm 42 years old. I spent $1 million in a month. At 31, I spent $1 million in a month. My family, every month, I spend anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000 a month taking care of my family, living my life at the highest level, taking care of my mom, taking care of my mother-in-law, blessing my dad, blessing the boys program, which the link is in the description. Y'all bless them too. I just donated $5,000 over there. About to donate another $10,000 to the boys summer program. And that's with no college degree. So I don't understand men crying and complaining about what they lose in a divorce. For one, you're half of the marriage. So if you were dumb enough and ignorant enough to marry a low character woman, you deserve to lose half. Because
man, this guy right here, boy. Whew. So if you marry a low caliber woman, like it just happens overnight, right? Like, you know, like you knew it going in, but you still do. And some people do, right? So to be fair, some men do marry a woman knowing there were red flags and ignore them purposely, right? Think you could change her, which you can't, right? But to then, again, once again, put the blame on the men and none on the women, man. This is diabolical. I just got this speaking right now. Yeah, you're half the marriage, of course, yes. Thank you, Captain Obvious. We know how the divorce laws work. And again, most men would argue that, you know, we don't mind paying her, you know, an exit fee depending on how long we were in the marriage, right? She deserves, you know, she's the woman, right? So it's going to happen, right? We're men, got it. But the way the laws, the way the calculations are set up, they get more, I would argue they get more than they deserve. And that's the whole problem. Look at the calculation of child support and things like that. They get way more than they deserve, man. I'm sorry to say it, but that's how I feel. We don't mind paying, but you get more than you deserve. Wow.
That's you getting bent over the knee of life and getting spanked. You need that whooping because you need the lesson to teach you as a grown man how to pick better women. You deserve that. Like, if I go through a divorce, I want to lose half. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm the type of man that I like accountability. I like responsibility. I want to lose all of it because I despise failure. So if I fail, I want every single lesson that failure could teach me. If I fail at marriage, I want every lesson. It's money.
Man, you sound so stupid. If I get to where I want to lose everything, are you serious, bro? Like, it's easy to say that 19 years of marriage, man. For real, like this guy, he has no idea what he's talking about. He has no clue what he's talking about, man. You see, I mean, move out the way, Derrick Jackson. I mean, I didn't know Tony Gaskins was like this bad. I mean, get out the way, Ace Metaphor, move, man, move, y'all. Put this brother right here in the front of the line. Put him on the throne. Y'all get off. Step down, please. Yeah, wow.
Wake up tomorrow and make $1 million. It's money. Learn how to make money and you won't be so scared about losing money. It ain't like you losing your scrotum. It ain't like you losing your kidney, your heart, your piece of your brain. You're losing money. And you're losing money because you're a liar, you're an abuser, you're a cheater, you're a manipulator, you're a deceiver. So money is the least that you can lose. That's the least you ought to lose because you could lose your life. And they talking about, oh, you wishing death on a man and all of that right there. That's not my wish. My wish is that if you don't want to be a man, that you go somewhere else and you live on an island and you go do what you want to do with your life and you stop influencing society against the will and the way of God. These men are trauma-ridden men. A lot of these men have been sexually assaulted as a child, sexually abused. A lot of these men have been violated. They've been abandoned. They've been abused, mistreated, manipulated, deceived. And a lot of these men, that has happened to them at the hands of a woman.
So now we're going with the hurt people response. Okay, all right.
Nick, you're stupid.
Okay. Now, so a lot of these men that are engaged in these behaviors, they've been severely traumatized, and now they're projecting their pain onto other women because it was done to them probably at the hands of a woman, right? Typical blame and response.
And they butthurt. They are butthurt. And so here you have the man, Coach Greg Adams, sent his minions over to my page to comment. And guess what? It was some of them comments, I don't know how many likes that they had, but it was some of them comments that had a bunch of likes. So that let me know there's a lot of down low men that's out here. And that's sad for the state of women. Because I'm gonna tell you like this, as a man, I'm not finna look up to a man who ain't even man enough to make a marriage work. I can't admire a man who can't get married and be a representation for his daughter. What I want y'all men to do is explain the free agent lifestyle to your daughter. That's the end of the argument right there. That's the end of the argument. Explain to your daughter that you want her to sleep with multiple men and never get married. You want her to take dang-a-ling after dang-a-ling after dang-a-ling of free agent men.
Okay, now here's the shame part, right? Okay, well, explain the free agent lifestyle to your daughter. Well, let me say you something, Tony, because I don't have any daughters. But here's the deal. Some of these young women out there have very bad influences. Now, if you don't, then kudos to you, all right? But a large majority of these young girls are going to have bad influences growing up. So they're already in this, what you bring to the table culture, I'm a baddie culture, this basically get the bad culture, this fluid out culture. These young women are already immersed in that at very young ages. Now, they might not play it out because they can't at a young age, adolescence, but make no mistake, they understand manipulation. They understand what money is and the value of it. They understand what their looks can get them with the young boys in school and what they can manipulate these boys to do. And they translate that in the adult world into money, into trips, into nice cars, into nice jewelry, into dresses, and being and positioning themselves to get with rich guys, with ballers. Look at Angela Simmons, right? These women position themselves to get with the highest bidder. And they're not ashamed of it. And it's only going to get worse. So if you have daughters, hopefully you can shield your daughters from this, but you can only speak for yourself, sir.
And let me tell you something. It was one of the Cucumber boys who said Tony must have seen his daughter in one of the free agent lifestyle videos. That right there is proof that the lifestyle is not good. Because if it's nothing wrong with the lifestyle, then why would I care if my daughter is in one of the videos? That's proof right there, dummy, that the lifestyle is debaucherous. If you assume that a man would not want his daughter to be a part of that free agent lifestyle, a victim of that free agent lifestyle, so you're okay with somebody else. For one, I don't have a daughter, I have 2 sons, dummy. Don't get slapped in your mouth. So here's the thing.
Oh, really? Enemy spotted. Well, thank you for telling me that, Mr. Bearded Man. Okay, that you have 2 sons and not a daughter. Good for you again. All right? Hey, man, he's talking real grease here. He'll slap folks in their mouth. He'll burn them by the stake. He said yesterday in the other video, said he'll mask up with some of his homeboys. Like, ooh-wee. I mean, Tony Montana or Tony Gaskins. Okay.
If you're okay with other men's daughter being in your free agent lifestyle, but not your daughter, that lets you know that it's a backwards and twisted and sadistic lifestyle, and that you're not living the way you're supposed to live. And I thank y'all for coming over here and for commenting on my page, because you done woke up a sleeping giant. And I guarantee you, by the time I'm done with you, y'all finna lose hundreds of thousands of men from that stupid lifestyle, because it is weak, it is sadistic, it is manipulative, it is deceptive, it is immature, it is homosexual, it is ignorant, it is the scum of the earth. If you are a free agent lifestyle man, you are the scum of the earth, and you are going to bust hell wide open. And they try to say, Tony Gaskins cursing another man, so that means he gonna bust hell wide open. And one of the clowns tried to use James 3. Have you read Jesus and what he told to the sinners? What he said about the Pharisees? Dummy. Shut up. Do you think God finna punish me for holding y'all fornicators and idolaters and closeted gay men accountable? You think God is mad at me? Or he more mad at you sleeping around with his daughter at an age of understanding? See, the Bible tells us that before you know better, then you receive grace, you're forgiven, you didn't know no better. When you come into the knowledge of the truth and you choose to continue to live a debaucherous, sadistic lifestyle, now you about to pay a price. And I'm telling y'all, and this is the thing, y'all gonna come back. Y'all do this all the time. I tell y'all something, and you don't want to believe me, and then come back, Tony Gaskins was right. Watch the way that what they call coach. How are you a coach coaching men on not marrying and living in fornication? What kind of coach?
And again, you know what? Everybody that listens to Coach Greg Adams doesn't participate in that lifestyle. Actually, I would say that a small number of his followers and subscribers actually do that. Most of us will listen to Coach Greg Adams because of the masculinity message that he brings to the men, okay? Because he doesn't just talk about, being the monetized dating marketplace. He doesn't just talk about that. Now, I listen to Coach Greg Adams myself because of the masculine principles that he talks about in his message. Not necessarily for the sugar daddy thing, even though I can live vicariously through him watching some of the stuff that he does on IG and on YouTube and things like that. It's wonderful. I mean, I congratulate the man on every turn, but what he does is awesome. All right. The life that he's carved out for himself post-divorce, nothing short of, amazing. All right. Multiple vehicles, a nice place somewhere in Las Vegas where he is right now, by the way. They might run into each other. I don't know. Several businesses, they're able to take month and a half long trips and go multiple places and have nice penthouse hotels and do all this fly stuff. I mean, great, man. You know what I mean? Cool for Coach. I mean, I don't do that myself, but I mean, I love watching him do it because, I mean, he got out the mud. He came from a bad situation. So, but back to you, Tony. Yes, he's a coach. Does he promote this stuff? Yes. But again, like he said, he says that we're not anti-marriage or anti-divorce. That's the whole point of it. But you don't see that. You're going to tell people to get back on the horse. Oh, by the way, you can make this stuff back you lost in divorce within, 60 months. I mean, wow.
That you're a cult leader. That's not a coach. A coach makes somebody's life better, dummy. A coach does not lead somebody into a life of weakness and degeneracy. That's not a coach. A coach uplifts and inspires and encourages. That's what a coach does. A coach does not lead somebody into a life of all kind of risk. Because one of these days, y'all boys gonna get your throat slit because you're gonna sleep with Jezebel and you're gonna wake up dead. And yes, I know you can't wake up dead, dummy. You're gonna wake up dead because you finna sleep with the wrong woman. And I have warned you that you're gonna sleep with the wrong woman. I'm gonna tell you one thing right now. The wrong woman, she watching this video. She hearing the prophecy that I'm giving. And she knows she gonna be the one to slit your throat. She knows she gonna be the one to end it all for you. And I'm gonna tell you what's happened. She not sent by God. She actually sent by Satan, but she gonna think she's sent by God to right the wrongs of men.
Now, people have said this one thing before. I've heard this several times, and they said it only takes one woman to make you pay for all the others, right? And so to that point, Tony, you are right. You know, sometimes you live in foul or you live in too reckless when it comes to women. Yes, you can be knocked down several pegs. That is true. And ultimately, maybe, you know, taking a dirt nap. That is true. Okay, so I give you that. However, the more planned, the more calculated, you know, and it's just, you can't speak on this from one perspective, in my opinion. He's just speaking on from a religious perspective, but I get it, man. You know, you're uber religious. You know, you're a Christian. You've been married for a long time. You call yourself a good life, but the world that we live in, man, men are forced to adapt or perish, figuratively and literally. All right? I mean, it's hard out here enough to make money, the economy, you know, the inflation, the politics, and all this other kind of stuff, the laws. But then you telling men to just get back on the horse of marriage, man. One, sometimes for most men is enough to break them mentally and emotionally, man. They don't want to get back on the horse. You're saying, you know what? You're a coward if you don't go back. I mean, how cruel and insensitive to me is that?
This is what y'all don't understand because you're stupid and because you've never sat and listened to a woman and talked to a woman. I wrote a book for a woman who was molested by her bishop. And when I say molested, I mean she was penetrated at the age of 8 years old by her 55-year-old bishop. She told her mom, and her mom didn't believe her. She then was penetrated by her mom's husband, who was in his 50s. And he penetrated her because he saw her mom didn't believe her when she told her mom that her aunt's husband, who was the bishop, her mom's sister husband, penetrated her. So then after the bishop penetrated her and the assistant pastor, who was her stepdad, penetrated her, she then was penetrated by the deacon, who was 19 years old, who used to clean the church and then come into the parsonage where she lived, and he penetrated her and he impregnated her. And then the bishop, who used to penetrate her, got with her mom, and the bishop and her mom made her and the deacon get married. She was 11 years old when she was married off to the deacon, who was 19. If you weren't so stupid, and if you...
Tony, that's a horrible story, man. But to paint all the bros as this type of, you know, sadistic man, I mean, that's a reach, ain't it?
So self-centered. You would sit down and you would listen to the stories of women, and you would listen to the pain of women, and you will understand that free agent lifestyle is going to get your throat slit. Because
how about the pain of men? You know, again, just because you live a cush life with a successful marriage, you're the outlier, okay? You're the example, not the rule. You know what I mean? Like,
you're going to meet a woman like the woman that I just told you about, that I wrote a book for, but she hasn't healed. She never met Tony Gaskins. She never met God. And she's going to meet you, a man who is arrogant, who is pompous, who is ignorant, who is selfish, and who thinks he knows it all. And she's going to slit your throat, or she's going to put a bullet in your head, because she has been raped and pillaged and molested by men after men after men after men. And she despises men like you, men who think her body is your playground, men like you who think her body is for your usage because you're hurt, because you got hurt by a marriage, because your marriage failed. Now you have tucked your ding-a-ling in your butt and you're walking around pouting, calling yourself a coach, talking to these grown, ignorant, butt-hurt gay men who are closeted gays who actually want to open you up and rip the lining out of you. These men do not have fathers, and you are the leader of men with no fathers. These men, fathers abused them. Their fathers abandoned them. Their uncles and their male cousins molested them. Their female cousins molested them. These men are closeted. 50% of them closeted. The rest of them are traumatized and scorned. And that's why they hate women. And that's why they hate marriage. And it is a debauchery to this world. It is a disgrace to this world. And I tell you like this right here. Yes, I'm cursing you. And if I fall in James 3, then so be it. I will stand before the Lord and I will tell the Lord, Lord, yes, I called them clowns out. And I told them that the life they was living was against your word, and it was debaucherous and it was disgusting. And I told them that they'll be better off dead than to be going around having sex with your daughters and lying to your daughters and misleading your daughters.
Are you telling the women that voluntarily give themselves up to men for money? Are you telling them this? Are you giving them the same speech that they're gonna, burn in fire and brimstone forever in the pits of hell? Are you giving everybody this speech, or are you one of those guys that just say, you know what, it don't matter, it's all the men's fault regardless of what happens, right? We're the ones that gotta be accountable for everything. Because that's what it sounds like to me, right? Because the people that the men you're speaking of is just one slice of the effed up pie of society. You know what I mean? If you want to hit it from a religious aspect and say, you know what you guys doing that's messed up, you know what, cool. But make sure that you hit everybody else in that pie with the same vigor and the same furious anger, if you will. Because we aren't the top of the food chain when it comes to debauchery, when it comes to, the ills of society. There's enough blame to go around. But if this guy, he's putting it all on us. Wow.
Lord, if I was wrong in holding them accountable, man to man, I ask for your forgiveness. And if you refuse to forgive me, then I will spend eternity in hell. I stand on what I stand on, punk. And I mean what I said. And I ain't backing down. So until I get tired of talking about y'all free agent lifestyle faggots, y'all out here, these punks that's out here sleeping around with these women, talking about you scared to get married because you don't want to lose half of your net worth in divorce when you only make $40,000 a year. Dummy. You don't even.
Look at that shame when you only make $40,000. Tony, at some point you made $40,000 a year, right? And what if you'd have got divorced then? Would you be saying the same stuff? No, you probably would not. But you're on a high horse now. You're in a high position. So now you can say, oh, we're just scared and you can make it back anytime and blah, blah. Man, that's real easy for you to say, Tony, but okay.
Have a net worth. You can't even spell net worth. What are you actually losing? You are an idiot talking about you finna lose half of your money and you don't have any money.
It's on a day round.
You can't even take a woman on a nice steak dinner. And you talking about you finna lose it all in marriage. What are you losing? And if you a real go-getter, if you a real hustler, if you a real man, you can lose it all today and get it all back tomorrow. Because if you really know how to get it, it's a blueprint to it. That's why any real millionaire who done went broke done got it all back. So if you lose half of your net worth in marriage and you can't get it back, you ain't deserve to have it in the first place. Wow. And I'm gonna tell you like this right here. I'm tired of you.
We're men, right? So we are resilient. So maybe we can make it back in a certain amount of time, whatever, cool. And depending on what you do or the business you're in or how you got it back, maybe you got a blueprint to be able to make it back again. Some people don't because the industry they're in or the business they're in, there's only a one shot kind of deal. So some people aren't going to make that back, but he doesn't call that out either. But again, to say we're just scared to lose all divorce, like, okay, it's just money. It's just money, right? So this sounds like a female talk right here. What are you afraid of? Well, you're the same woman that say, why should we get a prenup, right? You're the same man that doesn't want, you're the same woman that won't want a man to protect themselves. But then when they get divorced, you're the same one that say you chose wrong, right? Yeah.
Punks. And no, you can't comment on my video because you need to sit down and you need to shut up and you need to listen because that's what you're doing over there, listening to these closeted gay men who calling themselves coaches. And you think just because I'm calling them out that it make me gay. Well, I'll slap your head off your shoulders and show you what gay look like. I call a gay man, have him whoop your behind to show you how soft you is. It is nothing masculine and it is nothing manly about men of the age of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding running around, gallivanting through this world and sleeping around. Y'all are some punks and y'all need to all get together and y'all need to go buy y'all an island in Belize and y'all need to do what y'all really want to do with each other because you don't want a woman. And that's what I'm here to tell you. You don't want a woman. You hate women. You despise women. And you hate and despise women because you hate yourself. And that's what you need to deal with. You need to become a real man. I got a boy summer program. I'm raising real men. I'm talking to them like real men. I'm helping them understand what it is to be a real man. I guarantee you, every last one of their parents want them to grow up and love a woman, get married to a woman, have children with that woman, and raise their children and be faithful to their wife. I guarantee you, not a parent in this world want their son to grow up and follow degenerate coaches that's teaching them to go around the world fornicating because they didn't get to fornicate in their teens. So now they want to fornicate in their 40s and their 50s when you old enough and you dumb enough and you stink enough to know better. There is not a parent in this world that want their son to follow a Greg Adams.
And most men that followed Coach Greg, well, I wouldn't say most, but a large number of them probably were married and got divorced or was in a long-term relationship and got crushed somehow. You're saying, you're talking like, and yeah, there's some young men that follow Coach Greg Adams' teaching, but even Coach even says, you know what? Don't reveal this kind of stuff to young men. This stuff's more for the older men that's been experienced and been through the ringer. Some of these young guys need to experience these things so they understand, because him just saying it on a video on a live stream doesn't give it, enough context. It's the experience that counts, right? So he says this before, like, you know what? Your 16, 17-year-old man doesn't need to be listening to me. He needs to go out there, date, have a long-term relationship, get his heart crushed a few times, maybe even get married, divorced. I don't know. I mean, he says get your bag up first, and then you can approach marriage from a position of strength, financially and otherwise, which I think is smart. And if you still want to get married, then you're able financially and otherwise, mentally, to put in whatever guardrails you need to put into before the marriage begins, right? That's the smart thing to do. Still get married if you want, but do it from a more informed perspective, not just, I love her. You didn't do your homework on a woman. You didn't get any prenups. You didn't sit down and lay down the standards. You just got married and now boom. And then she switches up on you and you're blindsided, right? You don't know what's going to, you know what's going to happen before it happens, or at least you can see it coming to make enough adjustments or cut it before it gets too far gone, right? I think that's smart.
All men that's over there sucking that man meat, y'all need to go get y'all a abandoned house and move in together and do what y'all want to do to each other, because I am a man and I have a wife. And I've been married 19 years. And I got married at 23 years old. And I figured out how to make it work. And before that, I was an organized pimp and a womanizer. So if I can figure out how to make it work, then any man can figure out how to make it work.
Okay, so you was a pimp. You was a pimp at, what, 20, 21, 23? Target acquired. Okay. You were a pimp. No wonder you talking so tough. Okay. You was a pimp, right? All right. You were stomping down on the corners out there, huh? Tell them bitches to bring your bread, huh? Okay.
Dummy, y'all keep trying to use the past that I told your lame behind about against me when you don't realize that that's actually my testimony and what removes all of your excuses. Because if a womanizer who was at the top of the food chain, as a college athlete, as a dope boy, as an organized pimp, who could have any woman that he wanted, if I can settle down and get it right, why can't you? The man who couldn't sleep with multiple women in one day, the man who didn't have women chasing them and throwing themselves, why can't you get it right if I can get it right? So what y'all don't even understand is that your argument is futile. And y'all talking about, oh, you sound like a hypocrite because you did in your teens from the age of 15 to 21, what this man is doing in his 40s and 50s. It sounds like y'all the same person, y'all doing the same thing. Really? Listen to what you just said. So a 15-year-old and a 20-year-old, 21-year-old is the same as a 40, 45, 50-year-old? Listen to what you just said, dummy. So if you didn't get to sleep around in your teens, that means that when you done lived and got all of the wisdom of life, that you're supposed to go backwards and be dumb and sleep around, which increases your risk of HIV, increases your risk of a crime of passion, of a sadistic stalker, a fatal attraction, sleeping with another man, woman. All of these risks are increased. So you're telling me that it makes sense to you to get to your 30s, your 40s, and your 50s and to go backwards and to live in fornication like we was doing in our teens? That makes sense to you?
again, he's approaching this from a spiritual perspective. And again, if you look at this, if you know you're Christian, you know, you with the likes of, Geno Jennings and stuff like that, then you will say this is wrong. And then if you live in that kind of life, truly, again, congratulations to you. However, some of us have chosen to live in the real world and use religion as a guideline more than a baseline, right? And so for us, do we have some morals about us? Of course we do, but also we have to navigate this world in order to be successful. And that takes us, deviating from the spirit, enough to where we can see the traps. You don't see any traps because maybe you got a good woman. Again, that's good for you. But you do not speak for society. You don't speak for the women out there. You're not speaking at all for the women out there that are trapping men, that are doing this stuff along with the men. Do you think if these women were all on up above board, they would be messing with CGA? No, they wouldn't. But women like money. They like good times. They understand that their frontal lobe isn't not too much not developed to figure that out. Huh? These women, and as men say, these people say women are more mature than men, right? At younger ages. So in that case, these women know exactly what they're doing. So, let's put it like this. Let's play devil's advocate. Is CGA taking advantage of these women, or are these women taking advantage of CGA because he's an old man and he likes women and he got money? Let's put it that way. If, we were talking about people taking advantage of, we're talking about monsters. Why don't these women say, hey, man, why don't you go home, CGA? Why don't you go home, Greg, and, get in bed, man. Don't worry about it, man. I can do this on my own. You too old to be out here. You know what I mean? We go back home and be a respectable man. No, they taking that bread every chance they get. They taking those trips. They taking those boat rides. They taking that four-wheeler ATV ride, that tour, right? And they're taking the D.
Yeah, bitch. Yeah, bitch.
Voluntarily, every time, with pleasure.
That's how dumb y'all are. And that's how dumb y'all sound. Like, that makes no sense whatsoever. Like, really think about what you saying, dummy. Like, really think about that. Like, I'm gonna tell y'all what's going on. It's gay men that follow that Coach Greg Adams, and they doing one-on-one in-person sessions. And I'm willing to believe that there's some action going down.
What?
That there's some shalom sucking going down. And that y'all is a lot of closeted men, and y'all trying to call us who married to a woman and faithful, y'all trying to call us gay because you projecting, because you hate women and you despise women and you're a lame.
No, Ashton, we actually hope that your marriage survives the test of time. I mean, till death do us part, right? We hope that your marriage survives the test of time. We hope that a lot of marriages do. All marriages do that. Sadly, that's not the case. We're not hating on your marriage. We hope that your marriage stays strong, brother, for real. I hope that your marriage stays strong, right? But the majority, at least half of them, and statistics say higher, but I would, say at least half of them guaranteed will not. And that's the reality.
And so because you were
and half of those will be because she got bored.
lame your whole life, because you never led the county in rushing, because you never led the county in scoring, because you didn't go to college on a full athletic scholarship, you feel like you were lame. And
all right, Al Bundy, you got 5 touchdowns in one single game, right, for Polk County High School, right? Okay, all right, got it.
you got to make up for lost time instead of listening to those of us who was him, who was all the way that. And we telling you, it's not what it's cracked up to be. I made it out without catching an STD. Learn from me. Don't go live that life, because my grace ain't your grace. Because I did it when I was a teenager, when I was young and dumb. You doing it with all your faculties in place. You doing it with complete wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You gonna pay a price, because the price is far greater when you know better. That's common sense. I'm not understanding what's being missed here. Like, this is sad, like, that we got men like y'all who work in our jobs. Like, you this dumb, you this slow, and you work in our jobs. Like, you got kids. Like, that's why I say you need to go to an island and y'all just need to go all just Jim Jones by y'all self. Like, you raising kids. And this how you believe? Like, you believe it's okay to live in fornication at an age of understanding. Like, you got kids, bro. Like, boy, you got kids, boy. Like, you leading companies, like, you an entrepreneur. Like, bro, I'm gonna tell y'all something.
Why?
That Coach Greg got him finessing y'all. He realized that you is a ding-a-ling and a booty boy. He realized that you was a lame. He realized that you lost. He realized that you done been molested. He realized that you butt hurt. He realized you ain't got no daddy. He realized you done been abandoned, boy. And he taking advantage of you. And he leading you to the slaughter. And you finna wake up with AIDS, boy. You finna wake up with your throat leaking because you done met a real savage. You done met a woman who done swallowed so many things. She done been done wrong, left and right, up and down, top to bottom, and she through with it. Boy, you the straw that broke the camel bite. And when it happened, don't say I ain't warn you. Because your article gonna get sent to me. And I'm gonna help your family pay for your funeral. But I'm gonna talk about it because I told you. Get out that free agent lifestyle and be a real man. Stop being a punk and be a man. Boy, man up.
Man up. Yeah, I heard him. If you're still here, thank you. Thank you very much. You're still here. Thank you so much. Wow. Oh, man. That was, whew, man. Okay. Whew. Well, there you go, y'all. Man up, boy. You're going to die, and I'm going to send the article to me, and I'm going to pay for your funeral, but I'm going to talk about it. And if you Coach Greg Adams' ex-wife, go to Tony Gaskins, he want to see you by the interview and see what happened. Ooh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Greasy talk, insinuations, blame throwing, okay? Man, anger, furious anger, all of that. Tony Gaskins, the title of the video, Coach Greg Adams, leader of the losers. You, my friend, are a loser. And with that being said, thank you for attending another episode of the Working Man Podcast. I am your host, Nicholas J. Fury. If you out there are a passport bro, part of the RP, all right? If you follow the free agent lifestyle, if you are a part of the MG Toes, and this message touched your heart, go to Tony Gaskins' YouTube page, his Instagram page, all right? Go talk to him and repent. If you're like me and you listen, I mean, you understand the reality of the world. Don't laugh yourself to the hospital, okay? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell. We're out of the door, and I will see you on the next video.